gentleman who is responsible for requesting that we do this hearing, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Regional Director Anthony Samuel, before you were the Regional Director, before I was a Congressman, before Vanessa Gibson was the Borough President, we were all in the City Council, and we passed a law that established a New York City heat sensor program. Heat sensors have the ability to monitor and report heating levels in apartments in real time so that you can hold landlords accountable for providing tenants with heat and hot water. During the heating season of 2020 to 2021, the HPD pilot program led to the installation of heat sensors in 26 buildings with a history of heat violations and complaints. Among those buildings with heat sensors, complaints fell by 56%. Among those buildings with heat sensors, 7 buildings had 1 violation, 2 buildings had 2 violations, and none of the buildings had more than 2 violations. Indeed, 1 building had 500 fewer heat complaints than it did in the previous heating season. Given the success of the city local heat sensor program, would HUD support the creation of a federal heat sensor program?
And thank you so much, Congressman Torres. And I just have to say in this quick moment of time that it is an honor to be in this position before you as a member of Congress. HUD shares your commitment to fire safety, and I know that our HUD headquarters has been engaged with your staff, your team, and your committee as it relates to the proposed bills, and we all are working towards the same goals. And I have to say that with Inspire, and I know we've talked about this before, but with Inspire, those standards also contain enhanced fire safety standards, which address many of the issues that you have outlined. And we are doing that now. We have rolled out Inspire as a pilot program to be fully introduced by 2023 across all of our properties. And so we are doing that under Inspire. But I can say that our staff, our team at HUD headquarters will continue to engage with your committee so that we can all be working towards the same goal.
As you know, I have legislation that would require self-closing doors in federally funded affordable housing developments. But earlier, Commissioner Guerillon from New York City Housing Department, the Housing Preservation and Development Agency, testified that HUD was moving in the direction of mandating self-closing doors as part of HQS standards by rule, by regulation. Is that accurate, and what's the timeline for finalizing such a rule?
And so I'll ask Dash Sheriff to chime in on that. But I did want to say quickly that there are, and I recognize just from your previous comments that there are several standards, safety standards. We have HQS, we have REACT, we have the UPCS. And so again, with Inspire, it would be a way to make that more consistent across HUD assisted and unassisted properties. But I'll have Deputy Assistant Secretary chime in.
Thank you, Congressman Torres. So we have greatly appreciated working with your committee, and we have evaluated the legislation through the formal technical drafting service process. You are correct that under the Inspire regulations that are proposed right now, we will be increasing the standards and including a requirement for self-closing fire doors, and that will apply to all HUD housing. So it'll apply to the public housing portfolio, the multifamily portfolio, and voucher units, where our standards are not aligned today. Inspire will align our standards for all types of HUD housing. So wherever you live, if you're a resident of HUD housing, you will be subject, your unit will be subject to the same, more stringent requirements that we're proposing under Inspire, and that includes for self-closing fire doors.
What's the timeline? Just to interject, what's the timeline?
Oh, yes, I apologize. So we hope to have Inspire implemented by the end of federal fiscal year 2023 or September 30th, 2020. However, I will say we are already conducting Inspire demonstration inspections and have done over 400 of those inspections so far.
So my time is running out, so I just want to
Sorry.
kick in.
Yep.
I pointed out earlier that government is heavily siloed. There's a patchwork of housing inspections at every level of government. So take as an example Twin Park Northwest. Not only is Twin Park Northwest subject to the fire code and the building code and the housing code, all of which have their own inspectors, but the tenants have vouchers from 3 state and local Section 8 administrators, HPD, NYCHA, HCR. And there's no system to ensure that these inspectors are coordinating and communicating and talking to each other. Is HUD willing to play a role in convening all of these inspection regimes in the hopes of creating a system that breaks down these silos and enables these inspectors to talk to each other?
Well, Congressman, I wanted to mention that Commissioner Carrion mentioned that when he was the regional administrator, he started these quarterly meetings, and those meetings have not stopped. And as the new regional administrator, I too will continue with those quarterly meetings so that everyone will be able to sit at a table and be able to discuss what's happening and work together towards the safety standards. And I've already started, I had my first meeting with HPD and HDC and the mayor's office. And so we are starting that. We started that about a month ago. And so we're committed to making sure that we are having these quarterly meetings so that we can have a more consistent way of having safety standards for our residents.
I see my time has expired. Thank you so much.